Hello, 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 Cleveland, Tennessee. I am Dr. Brett Spradlin. We are at Divine Design Natural Health. Is there a crowd here?
Yeah.
Look at that crowd. Crazy. Out of control. All right, let's tear right into this. So I can have you guys to the Golden Corral before it closes. You guys ready?
Too late.
Lies Chiropractors Tell. Part 2 is today, May 8th. However, April 17th, The Root of All Evil, Part 2, that was last month. I want to just review. Today is May 8th, Lies Chiropractors Tell, Part 2. June 12th is Say What You Mean What You Say, Part 4, by the way. It's a new series that we're doing that's taking the world by storm. We go through memes in different categories. It's wonderful. It's fun. We have a good time. And the Root of All Evil class, Part 2, don't forget, everybody out there, you have to watch Part 1 and Part 2 of Root of All Evil in order to be eligible to sign up for our VIP red carpet backstage pass Saturday, May 13th, 1 p.m. thing, where we're going to show you how to break out of the system. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, you guys ready? Let's tear into this. Lies Chiropractors Tell, Part 2. What you're about to learn. Well, we're going to review real quick. We're not going to go through every single thing, but we're going to show you what we learned in Lies Chiropractors Tell, Part 1. Lies Chiropractors Tell, Part 2. We're going to do the before. And then, why are we covering this topic? Number 4, some clarifications and some caveats, or caveats, as they say here in Tennessee. The Woke versus AMA case, you all need to know this, especially if you're a fan of chiropractic, and if you understand what's going on in natural health care, you will definitely want to know what the Woke versus AMA case is. Number 6, misconceptions about chiropractic. Number 7, observations regarding healthcare and chiropractic. Some of this might come as a surprise to you. Number 8, American healthcare trends. That will not be a surprise. We've covered that before. Number 9, everything changed in the 1980s. Why is everybody sicker, fatter, stupider, and more infertile ever since the 1980s? What is it that happened? I will point out 10 things to you with main points about the above. Number 11, why it's becoming increasingly more difficult to communicate with others. Number 12, history of Divine Design Natural Health. Who doesn't want to talk about Divine Design Natural Health, right? And then 13, how is all of this possible? How is it possible that all of this is possible? It's a good question. We'll answer it. Number 14, where can I learn all this nonsense? I want to go to school for XYZ. I don't recommend it, but we'll talk about it. Number 15, Lies Chiropractors Tell, Part 2, after. So we're going to cover the before, we're going to cover the after here in just a second. Here's the review. Here's what we covered. Lies Chiropractors Tell. We only do neck pain, back pain, headache. We'll blaze right through these, Jonathan. I can't adjust your fusion surgery. It's a bone out of place that's pressing on a nerve. I only adjust upper cervical. The rest of your spine follows your first vertebra. I can't even say it without laughing. I only adjust with an instrument. I can't adjust arms and legs. We need x-rays first. You've all heard these, right? Number 9, we need to refer you to a specialist for surgery. Number 10, I only adjust athletes. Oh, that one just makes my blood boil. Number 11, you should get the vaccine. That one really makes my blood boil. Number 12, we take Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, and Humana. Your hips are out of alignment. Number 14, your right leg's shorter than your left leg. Number 15, you have scoliosis. Let's get you fitted for your back brace. Number 16, your adjustment did not hold. This one right here, number 14, by the way, your right leg shorter than your left leg. I guarantee you, 99.9% of people who've ever gone to a chiropractor have heard that. But really, the problem is the left leg's longer than the right leg. So which one's the problem? See the problem? You just repeat it. Teach somebody something, they just repeat it. Number 17, your scan says you're out of alignment. Number 18, my upper cervical doc says you can't adjust my neck. I'm in pattern. Number 19, we offer free consultations, exams, and x-rays with our $29 Groupon deal. And number 20, we need to see you 3 times a week for 6 months. How many of you have heard any of those? Hands go up across the universe. Perfect. Here's what you're going to learn this time. Lies Chiropractors Tell, Part 2. Here are the lies. Let me floss your nerve, put some kinesio tape on your hamstrings, and slather you with biofreeze. You need 152 visits this year. I've heard it. Many people have heard that. Let's get you out of pain. These private label supplements with my name and picture on them are all you need. I can't adjust your herniated disc, which is like a fusion surgery. We're going to check your range of motion. Number 27, we only do soft touch chiropractic. That should be in quotes. Soft touch, air quotes. You just need a good multivitamin and some fish oil. That's all you need. 29, all you need is some anti-inflammatory meds. Take a few Tylenol for pain. Remind you, this is chiropractors saying this. Number 30, don't worry. I'll refer you to the same surgeon that did my mom's knee. He's great. Number 31, Just buy this pillow or a new bed. It will fix your neck and back pain. Number 32, these $400 orthotics that go in the soles of your shoes, in the inside of your shoes, will fix your back pain. You don't need to get adjusted. I've heard chiropractors say it. Number 33, buy this TENS unit. It's a transdermal electrical nerve stimulation. It's a little patch you put on and it shocks. You've seen them. Just buy this TENS unit. Your insurance will cover it. Never mind the fact that it won't fix the problem. Just buy this and your insurance will cover it. Number 34, I only do evidence-based chiropractic. And number 35, my favorite, rest, ice, and compress and elevate your injury. How many of you have heard any of those? Right, so you get what I'm saying. There were lies doctors tell, which we've done 7 parts of. And what I did was I just put together everything I've heard since I opened the doors of this place back in February of 2014. And I put together all the stuff that people have heard from medical doctors telling them stupidity. And well, then shortly after I put together those 7 classes, I realized I have the same stuff with chiropractors because some of it just doesn't make sense. We'll explain some of this tonight. We'll explain the part 2 stuff tonight. If you want deeper, in-depth stuff and the part 1 stuff, go back to the part 1. But this is what you're going to learn. Those are the lies you're going to learn about tonight. And holding on there, pause for a brief commercial break from the illustrious and talented Heidi. Yay!
Yay! All right, this one's a little bit long, but it's really good. So she said, let me just start by saying chiropractors are not all created equal. This goes for doctors of medicine as well. I've been going to chiropractors for about 25 plus years, as well as a common doctor. And over the course of those years, I've seen several. But I have never been to a chiropractor or a doctor that comes close to Dr. Brett. Here's what separates him from the rest. First off, if you look at chiropractors in general, there is no comparison. Dr. Brett gives a complete full body adjustment as his standard adjustment, while most only adjust neck and back. He will go even deeper, like with adjusting ears, sinuses, etc., if necessary. I have never had this done by any other chiropractor, and it makes an incredible difference. Secondly, cold laser and percussion have huge benefits, yet so few use them. Just only one other chiropractor I knew used cold laser therapy, and it was only occasionally. Just one other chiropractor, I already said that. This extra step will have great benefits when used, so why don't other doctors use this? Now, number 3 is what truly separates Dr. Brett from the rest. No other chiropractor or doctor that I went to educated me. They didn't incorporate any nutrition or teach me how powerful food can be. The power behind this truth can be life-changing when taught and implemented in daily routines. Number 4 is detoxification. No other doctor taught me how vitally important it is to detox. He taught me all the things to avoid and eliminate to keep myself healthy. Wow. Number 5 is muscle testing. I've had few chiropractors over the years do this. However, I did not see the same results. I believe this is because most chiropractors only do a partial part of the healing process, unlike the full protocol Dr. Brett offers. And finally, in no way, shape, or form have I seen the dedication to educating patients like Dr. Brett. His passion, knowledge, work ethic, and commitment to his patients are unlike any doctor I've been around. We are so blessed to have a doctor like Dr. Brett to go to. Thank you, Dr. Brett and staff, for your love and commitment and full capacity to your patients. I'm forever grateful.
Wow. All right, thank you all. We're going home. Peace. No, I didn't know that was coming. That was from somebody that was here today, and we told her she's in other side of the state, I believe, right? Is that who I think that was? And then, so I said, well, hey, this is what we're talking about tonight. And she said, oh, well, let me write a little testimonial. So I didn't know that was coming. I had no idea. A 6-part testimonial, or 5. I lost track. 5-part testimonial. Well, now that you guys are all, enraptured by that, I think let's go. Let's meet at the Kentucky Fried Chicken later. No, but that's good. That's really good. I didn't know that was coming. That's really good. I'll have to yell at her about that next time. I'll just say thank you. Yes. Okay. Well, why are we covering this topic? Oh, hold on. Yeah. Sorry. That just threw me for a loop. I'm ready. Sorry. Wow. Thank you. That was really great. Let's do some memes. How about that? Let's do some memes. You again? Stop the communists. We beat them before. We'll beat them now. I don't know what that has to do with chiropractic, but I like it. Well, crap. Now the lizards. Lizard warning, 4 a.m. Saturday on. It's supposed to be blizzard. The bee burned out. I love that one though. That's a funny one. So let me explain. These are all, just for some of you, some of the slow kids in the back, these are all books here. 1984, They Live, Fahrenheit, and movies. Brazil, Brave New World, The Matrix, Soylent Green, Idiocracy, Mad Max, Lord of the Flies, Animal Farm, and Hunger Games. And we're right smack dab in the middle of the Book of Revelation. Isn't that great? Huh, funny. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a bullshit analyzer. Perfect. Pessimist says the glass is half empty. Optimist says the glass is half full. A leftist says the water's racist. Transformers when I was a kid, Transformers now. He really hates that we made fun of Optimus Prime back there, doesn't he? Yeah. So why are we covering this? Well, short story. A family of very veteran patients, and I think they have like 6 kids now, 5 kids. And they went to Florida, and their 4-month-old developed a fever, okay? They contacted multiple offices knowing the positive effects of an adjustment on something as simple as a kid's fever, because the fever is not the problem. The fever is the body raising the temperature to cook off some bad guys. But so much of medicine tells you that the fever is a disease. So they give you anti-fever medications like Tylenol and stuff like that. It complicates the process. And then whatever happened to Reye syndrome? REYE''S. Half of you don't even know. Reye syndrome, whatever happened to it? Remember what Reye syndrome was? Don't give a kid Tylenol, right? Remember that? Reye syndrome, never heard of it? It's vanished from the medical textbooks. It's no longer there.
It's not.
Reye syndrome got relabeled. I'll tell you what the relabeled name is later on. But regardless, they tell you that the fever is a bad thing. We didn't get the updated thing from them, did we? Okay. So I wanted them to kind of come and explain this because it's astronomically unbelievable, this whole story. So they go to Florida. They wanted a simple little visit. And some of the things that they ran into, next thing here, please, their options, they called like 4 or 5 different offices. What were their options? Chiropractic offices, okay? For a 4-month-old. Okay, so their options were, you got to take them to urgent care. That was one option. The second office said, and I may be, if they're watching right now, forgive me, I may be like misparlaying this a little bit. I may leave some details out. I wanted them to be here, but one office said something along the lines of, no, you got to go to urgent care. Another office, so referring them right into the arms of the drug pushers, right? The next office said, nope, we got to do x-rays first. Dad said, it's a 4-month-old, you're not doing x-rays on a 4-month-old. See where I'm going with this? So they're telling me this, they're halfway through the story, and I'm like, I know my next series of classes, because I run into this crap all the time with people in my own profession, right? Then the next office said something like, we don't adjust babies, which is just unconscionable to me, because chiropractic for small infants, toddlers, kids of all ages, is astronomically, in all of the literature, massive benefit. And then another office said you have to have a negative COVID test. So that was 5 offices I think they contacted. They ended up I don't think they ended up going. And so they told me the story, and I was appalled, I was flabbergasted, and I said, of course. And this was in Florida, and you think, well, Florida's more open, and Florida's more accepting, and Florida's more conservative. Not necessarily. So that being said, that was the impetus for this. So you guys out there, if you're listening, I hope I got all those details right, but you kind of inspired me. So we did part 1 back in February, and now this is part 2. So here we go. So other reasons why we're doing this. Veteran patients who have had lackluster experiences at other offices. So patients who understand natural health and chiropractic, and then they kind of get bewildered and disenfranchised, and then they end up coming here and going, oh, now I get it. So they may have been going to chiropractors for years, which leads to this. We often see new patients, and they've been suffering with 35 years of neck and back pain, and then I look at their paperwork and I see that they've been going to a chiropractor for 30, 40 years, and I just go, I wonder why their neck and back still hurts. Why would that be? Anybody know? Because the chiropractor was pushing bones, and the chiropractor was not teaching them how to regrow their ligaments, their muscles, their meniscus, their tendons, and their structural components of their skeleton with food. So these people who go to chiropractors for decades and still have neck and back pain, but the chiropractor was only touching the neck and back, Then they end up becoming this. We often see veteran chiropractic advocates with fake knees and hips. So see, this just leads on and on. It's one little step, right? Because so they've been going to a chiropractor for 30, 40 years, right? But they have a couple fake hips and a couple fake knees. So that tells me a couple things. The chiropractor never talked to them about their surgeries or probably referred them to get their surgeries done. And the chiropractors also never adjusted their hips or their knees. And that also tells me the chiropractor never taught them about the nutrition because they would never have to replace their hip or a knee, minus some traumatic accident, if they had the right nutrition. Does that make sense? So we see veteran chiropractic people with fake knees and hips, but they've been going to a natural health. The biggest profession of natural health in the world should be, it is chiropractic. So does that not tell you that chiropractors should be the tip of the spear on the natural health thing? But let me show you what really happens. Common patient presentation, they're walking in here, even from other chiropractic places, and they're on multiple drugs, they're missing multiple organs. Why? Because no education. We're just taking your insurance, we wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, wreck your neck and cash a check. That's what most people think, right? Next. So then the percentage of patients, so then if all these things go in order, then what's the next logical step that falls in place? Percentage of patients at a lot of other chiropractic physicians' offices who receive the lethal injection. By my estimates, by my own investigating and talking to other doctors and other people in other doctors' offices. And I'm not talking just here in Cleveland. I'm talking nationally. I'm talking Florida, California, Michigan, all over the country. I talk to people in this profession all over the country. That is the amount of people. In a natural health, the world's largest profession of drug-free, surgery-free healthcare professionals, and within the world's largest profession of drug-free, surgery-free professionals, you're still getting those numbers of people who got the lethal injection. That shocks me. That shocks me. So we teach here for one reason and one reason only, to educate you and save your life and keep you out of the medical meat grinder. How ethical and moral is that? So take that. Less than 2%, then of course, if you understand this, then you understand this, that less than 2% of practicing chiropractors actually even touch arms and legs. There's a reason. There's a reason. Either they don't know how to do it or the insurance won't pay for it. Insurance will not pay for arms and legs. So it's not the doctor that's deciding what you're doing. If the doctor has signed a contract with an insurance provider, the insurance provider decides what you get, not the doctor. Understand that. That happens in medicine and that happens in chiropractic. Understand that. Your life can depend on it. Now, here's another reason why we're covering this topic. People need to understand, we only accept car accident people because auto insurance is it's a different animal. It's a completely different animal than medical insurance. So we do car accident cases, but we only do them for currently active patients. I do not take personal injury cases off the street with people I don't know. I just don't do it. It's not worth it. I don't care. I won't do it. But if people are already on board here and they're already, good patients and they want to, they got in a car accident or a fender bender, well, hey, the premiums you've been paying for the last 25 years will pay for your chiropractic care here at least for a few months. So if you want to do that, I'll do it. It's a lot more work and it's a lot more paperwork and this and that, but I'll do it for them if they want to do it. So just FYI, we chase no ambulances. I am not playing golf with lawyers on Saturday. You get what I'm saying? That's where a lot of shady deals are made, my friends. I'm just letting you know. We don't share our patient info with insurance companies or the government. Your privacy matters. The stuff that goes on a computer is not an ICD or a CPT code. So we don't use those, and they don't follow you for life. If you go to a medical doctor and you get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, that ICD code or that CPT code will follow you from insurance to if you can even get insurance after that. Once you're diagnosed with a certain thing, you get diabetes, you get the diabetes ICD code or whatever. You change insurances at your job or however that works, and you go to get more insurance. You might not be able to get insurance based on your ICD codes and your CPT codes. So those things will follow you for life, not here. We don't use them. See, I don't play in their game. I don't play in their system, so I don't have to use their codes. We save patients untold expenses and heartache in premiums, untold expenses. hundreds of thousands of dollars in premiums, deductibles, prescriptions, and surgeries while removing them from the medical meat grinder system that they're trying to get out of, particularly after 2020 and all the nonsense that they saw. Why else are we covering this? Our patient base consists primarily of who? Other healthcare professionals who are jumping off a sinking ship because they see what's coming, right? Nurse of 52 years. Anybody else in here medical? Nurse, 52 years. Is everything I'm saying true? Yes. ICD codes, CPT codes, you know all this, right? Why else are we covering this? Oh, we got many reasons. Many don't realize that chiropractic physicians are portal of entry healthcare professionals in all 50 states. You don't need a pediatrician unless you really, really, really want one. People come to me sometimes and they go, can you do kids? I do kids all day long. They don't know. They have no idea. They say, well, can you be my pediatrician? Of course. Of course I can. Oh, I thought I had to have a pediatrician. You don't have to have a pediatrician. Who's telling you have to have a pediatrician? Nobody, it's not a law. You have to have a pediatrician. You can decide what you want to do, right? And most people have no idea. Well, what do I do if my kid gets sick? Let me think. Bring them here. It's easy. It's simple. You go to a pediatrician, I guarantee you, you're going to get a vaccine, you're going to get an antibiotic, you're going to get a steroid. Guaranteed. Right, nurse of 52 years? Of course. So you don't need a pediatrician unless you really want your kid to be measured, weighed, and poked with vaccines. That's where they get 80% of their income. Our patients usually rid themselves of the need for multiple specialists without very much complication. I seem to notice they get rid of a lot of other doctors just by doing what we ask them to do for a very short amount of time, and then they get their independence back, and they're off to the races, right? And we're also doing this to illustrate why we do not often adjust patients until they've been here for at least 1 month. That comes as a surprise to a lot of people. We do not adjust you until you've been here a month. If you've had back pain for 35 years, what's another 30 days? We're going to give your body time to decompress. We're going to give your body some time to get rid of some inflammatory stuff. We're going to change your diet. We're going to start working on your joints before we ever put a hand on you. So does that decrease the amount of complications we're going to run into compared to if we just adjusted every Tom, Dick, and Harry that came in here off the street with a sore back? See, it's unheard of. I've never heard of anybody else doing this. It's unheard of. It's brand new. There's a reason. I didn't think of it. It's not me. So why else are we covering this? To make things even with our 7-part series of Lies Doctors Tell, which will soon have an 8th episode. We're an equal opportunity offender, and we don't just want to peeve off the medical doctors and all the transcriptionists and all the people, the thousands of people that work for the biggest employer out there next to the U.S. government, which is the U.S. healthcare system. Sadly, even chiropractic is sometimes its own worst enemy and has been unduly corrupted in certain forms from its original intent. And I will tell you how that happened. I will tell you how. Some clarifications and caveats we got to get into. Chiropractic is the world's largest and most influential drug-free, surgery-free healthcare profession in most countries, all across Europe, Japan, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, North America, South America, all over the place. The profession has been widely censored and marginalized by medical interests for over 100 years. I'll prove that to you here in a moment. And your understanding of this is absolutely required for you to have a healthy future, given the fact that what's been happening in the last 3 years. If you want to know more about chiropractic and you want to know more about like what's really behind it and how do we do, how is it different? What are homeopaths? What are naturopaths? What are medical doctors? What are osteopaths? What are chiropractors? What do they do? We've got a class called Which Doctors Do What? And we've got another class called The Greatest Healing Profession the World Has Ever Known. And they go back a couple of years, and that will clue you in on exactly. If you've got friends and family out there who don't know, what is the difference between a medical doctor? What's the difference between an MD and a DO? What's the difference between a DC, a doctor of chiropractic, homeopaths, naturopaths? People throw these terms around and they don't really know what they mean. I did a whole class on it, but that one right there, The Greatest Healing Profession, is all about chiropractic. So you can watch those. Those are some other WellWorks classes. We're not trashing anyone. I want you to understand this. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus unless they deserve to be thrown, because I'll pitch in. But as long as people are getting better, we're simply explaining the mixed signals that many have received from other physicians over the years. If they're getting better, great. But a lot of times, they're not getting better, I've come to find out. So, next. Here it is. As long as you're doing natural health and you're getting remarkably healthier, we're in agreement. The problem with that right there is sometimes people are doing natural health and they're getting injections. Their doctor says, well, yeah, this is all natural, but they're getting injections. What's the problem with that statement? What is natural about an injection? There is nothing natural about an injection. We'll talk about that later. The second problem with that statement is if you're getting remarkably healthier, you can't get remarkably healthier with an injection. So if they're going to somebody who's doing natural health and they're taking unnatural supplements or they're doing unnatural methods or they're doing unnatural injections, you got a problem. Just because the person who's injecting you or whatever or selling you the supplement says they're natural doesn't mean they're natural, right? Sorry. I'm sorry to wake you up to that, but you just can't. Just because something says natural, you know what? Dog poo is natural, but I wouldn't eat it. A cadaver is completely and totally 100% organic. It's natural. It's made of complete organic materials. A cadaver. Do you want to eat that? No. See the problem? Anybody can lie with statistics. It's not just Bill Gates. Anybody can lie with statistics. So, as long as you're on board and you're getting good. Oh, and the other thing too that we'll talk about later on is sometimes people are doing natural health and they're doing new age witchcraft. We'll talk about that further down the road. I'm going to really ruffle some feathers here in a minute. But this is not the place for everyone. Your life will radically change. Many people, however, do not like change. And our methods are far too simple to satisfy the complexity that a lot of people desire in their lives. They like their handicap placards that allow them to get to park closer to church or Walmart or whatever. They like the attention from the diagnoses. They like arguing with Blue Cross Blue Shield on the phone on Saturday afternoon. They like it. Some people love it. Some people, that's their identity. I hate to tell you, but some people really love being sick. If you didn't notice from the last 3 years, some people really love being sick. This is natural health. This is natural health. However, it's been inundated. But there will be no pagan statues or yoga classes here ever. Do you understand what I mean by that? Ever. There will never be a Buddha statue or a painting of Shiva on this wall, Shiva, or Brahma or Vishnu or any of the other 300 million Hindu gods. And you will never have some tatted up, purple-haired yoga instructor teaching some class out of one of my rooms. It's New Age witchcraft. You want to know what it is? It's New Age witchcraft. Look into your yoga poses. Talk to some of my friends who are now pastors who used to be hippies back in the 60s teaching yoga, and we'll turn you on to a whole new world, brother. I'll tell you, we'll turn you on to a whole new world. Some do not like this. You know what? It's perfectly all right with us. That's why it says Divine Design Natural Health on the door and not Brett Spradlin Natural Health on the door. So some people don't like that. That's okay. This is not the place for everybody. We already covered that in point number 472. We will also never use artificial intelligence. We prefer logical human intelligence to the biased artificial variety that is currently taking over the world and programmed by the leftists with purple hair teaching yoga classes. Thank you very much. If we do accept someone as a patient, just a clarification, it's conditional at all times. Sometimes they just don't want to be here, and sometimes we don't want them to be here. So, we're not in network with your insurance company, so we don't have to get along. You just either do what we ask you to do, or you just go somewhere else. That's cool. That's fine. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But we filter through people pretty easily. We filter through whether they're going to be, agreeable or not agreeable. Next, there are two paths, medical and natural, sheep and goats, darkness and light. The sheep go on the right, the goats go on the left. Natural over here, medical over there. You can't be a double-minded man, unstable in all your ways, tossed to and fro like a wave upon the sea. Not if you want to get anything done, but we will not change our course or our intention. We clearly know, right, Heidi, what we are called to do and how we are called to do it, and we're not going to change it just because you have another idea. Next. You will not find the information taught in this or any other wellness workshop that we've ever taught on WebMD. You will not find the information on Healthline or Medscape or any of the search results on the internet, because how many of you know we're in the middle of a censorship? Yeah. Absolute. You can't find. I went to search for something the other day online. I couldn't even find. It was just propaganda. Everything I found was just absolute propaganda. It was unbelievable. Social media influencers and gurus abound with medically inspired information that is often false. I have to believe that some of the pharmaceutical companies and some of the big medical societies out there are paying some of these social media influencers to go out there and say some of this stuff because nobody's that stupid. Nobody's as stupid as some of the stuff I see. So I have to assume that they're, you know, COINTELPRO type people that are just paid to do a certain thing or to say a certain thing, just to turn a whole group of people off. And then finally, our catalyzing statement is this. Why are we doing this? Some clarifications, caveats we have to get into, because this is a sacred service to us. And in that sacred service of saving lives ahead of time, we are fearlessly freeing billions of beings through all natural, what kind of health? Biblical health. How do we do that? Well, let's go back in history. Let's talk about the Wilk versus AMA case. American Medical Association. Nobody knows about this. I mean, people like me do, but patients, like everybody, every patient needs to know about this because it influences how you think about what's going on in the world. Back in 1976, an Illinois chiropractor, his name was Chester Wilk, and 4 other chiropractors filed a restraint of trade complaint against the AMA, the American Medical Association. The Journal of the American Medical Association is commonly referred to as JAMA, J-A-M-A, but it's the same people, right? So the most prestigious medical journals in the United States, JAMA, same people we're dealing with here, that are the people in the, against Chester Wilk. So we got 4 chiropractors against the American Medical Association. See where this is going? What happened? Well, at that time, the AMA labeled, now remember, this was 50 years ago. They labeled all chiropractors as quacks. So how long had they been doing that? Since the early 1900s. It had been going on for 70 years or more. But they'd been labeling all the chiropractors as quacks and forbade the AMA's members from associating with or referring to chiropractors. Okay? So working with investigators, these 5 chiropractors from here, Chester Wilk and the other 4 guys from Illinois, they found evidence, big, giant banker's boxes stacked to the ceiling. Somebody sent all the stuff to these guys. It was a hand of God. But the 5 chiropractors found evidence that the AMA's financial motives led to an attempt to contain and eliminate natural health, with chiropractic being the intended target. Why would chiropractic be the intended target? What did I say earlier? The biggest, most influential, largest, most widespread profession in all of natural health across the world is chiropractic. So were they going after the homeopaths? Were they going after the naturopaths? Were they going after the iridologists? Were they going after the massage therapists? No, they were going after the chiropractors. Why? Because if you take down the chiropractors, guess what? All the other guys topple like dominoes, right? So where's this going? Oh, it gets so good. So the legal battle continued for more than a decade. It was taken to the Supreme Court. A multi-million-dollar federal appeals court decision was rendered against the AMA and forever changed the course of healthcare in this country and the world. Remember, this was 1976. This happened in the mid-'80s. Because remember, the court case went on 10 years. So here it is, late 80s, early 90s. On February 7th of 1990, the AMA was found guilty of what? Well, you're just a conspiracy theorist. Now, there's a real word, and there's a real activity that people do against other real people, and it's called conspiring. If you want to not believe it, that's okay. But there's a court case here where the AMA was found guilty of, that's not my words, that's theirs. That's why they're in quote marks. Conspiring, the AMA was conspiring with other medical healthcare organizations in a lengthy, systematic, successful, and unlawful boycott designed to restrict cooperation between medical doctors and doctors of chiropractic in order to eliminate the profession of chiropractic as a competitor in the U.S. healthcare system. Because if you do not have a group of people that give you options to drugs and surgery available, then guess what your options are? Drugs and surgery. See where this is going? Look at that. So the AMA was found guilty of conspiring, right? What does this mean? Other medical healthcare organizations. That means insurance companies. That means pharmaceutical companies. That means medical schools. That means medical journals. Because we're talking about the AMA here. Who makes sure that the medical doctors are learning what they're learning? The American Medical Association. When you take the MCAT for medical school, the AMA owns the copyright to that test. the AMA owns the copyright to all the study materials. The AMA chooses, well, I mean, in a roundabout way, the AMA runs the entire the entire medical system. So these other medical healthcare organizations, you got to understand, it's not just the medical schools, it's the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies, all the entire industrial, medical industrial complex is what this case was all about, right? Next. So the AMA was forced to publish the entire ruling in the Journal of the American Medical Association, right? And the American Medical News, notifying its members that they were free to refer to, accept referrals from, and associate with chiropractors. Well, look at that. So this was like a real live Haman, this was like a real live Daniel in the courts of Nebuchadnezzar. This was the three Hebrew kids in front of Nebuchadnezzar. That's what this was, okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts. How this whole thing went down was historical. How these guys had this information red-handed. The pharmaceutical companies, the insurance companies, the medical schools, and all of the medical publishing journals were all in on it. And they had documents that went to a Supreme Court ruling, and half the United States, 99% of the United States, doesn't even know this ever happened. Like this should have been front page news everywhere. Every chiropractic office should have had this. Like they should have been blowing chemtrails talking about Wilk versus AMA in the sky. You know what I mean? Media suppression and misinformation still continue to this day, despite the discovery of the American Medical Association's attempt to illegally boycott the chiropractic profession. So, is there such a thing as a conspiracy? Has it been happening for thousands of years? Did it happen in medicine? Are they trying to take out the chiropractors? They're still trying to take out the chiropractors. Misconceptions? Here we go. Adjusting your knuckles will give you arthritis. You want to know who came up with that one? A company called Bear. Now, I don't know how many people I go to adjust their hands and their wrists, and they go, my grandma told me. Let me guess. Let me guess. And then I'll say, that's interesting, because you know what? There's a company that came up with that and spread it throughout the medical schools and told the doctors this. Do you happen to know the name of that company? They're like, no, I don't know the name of that company. Say, it's interesting, because the name of that company is called Bear. What do they make? Interesting. So if I spread a rumor that cracking your knuckles, I should say adjusting, I hate cracking, adjusting your knuckles causes arthritis, that's going to make sure two things happen. That's going to make sure that you never go to a chiropractor. And that's probably going to make sure the chiropractors never adjust your knuckles. See why most chiropractors don't touch hands? Because people are like, no, I don't want arthritis, because they've already been conspired against and they don't know it. That's going to make sure that happens. And then farther down the road, 10, 15, 20 years later, you're going to have a lady with old crinkled up hands that are all like lateral deviation, ulnar deviation, and they've got rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis just eating them alive, and they can't even pick up a coffee cup anymore because they can't move their fingers. Because they've been eating aspirin and Tylenol and everything else that Bayer makes, right, for decades, and now their liver's falling out of, their heart's falling apart, their head's blowing up, their arteries are falling apart, they're having strokes, and why? Because they're being poisoned. So if I owned Bayer, I would make sure that all of the medical doctors being taught for 60, 70, 80 years would have this in their head. You don't want to, just think about it. You're just moving the joints, for God's sake. How stupid is that? Moving your knuckles causes arthritis. Well, then we should just lay here and be cadavers. We shouldn't move. Think how stupid this is. But people every day come in here and I hear the same thing. Let me guess. I can finish your sentence for you. Number 2, you should only go to a chiropractor if you have neck pain, back pain, or headache. So if you just wait around for most of society who's dying of 50 million other diseases and more coming out every day, if you just wait around for somebody to get motivated who has neck pain, or if you just wait around for somebody who gets motivated and has back pain or headache to walk into your office, what are you going to do as a chiropractor? You're going to be miserable. You're going to starve, probably. You probably won't have a business very long, and the only people you're going to handle are the people who are already in intractable pain, who've waited and waited and waited for something to get better, but nothing happened. So these guys, they end up selling out and running pain clinics. And then they hire a medical doctor. They call it integrative medicine. You hire a medical doctor, and then the medical doctor comes in and pumps all your patients full of morphine. That's how that works. Misconceptions about chiropractic. Number 3, I love it. My insurance doesn't cover it. Perfect. Your insurance won't cover anything I do. Perfect. Number 4, my insurance is, this is even better. My insurance only covers 12 visits per year. I don't know how your insurance company owns a crystal ball, and I don't know how they know that. They can see down the road 12 months at a time. That's amazing. How do they do that? Number 5, you should only go to a chiropractor if you're in a car accident. We kind of already talked about that, but these are misconceptions that people have. These are mainstream misconceptions that people have. How can adjustments possibly help my condition or disease? Well, I don't know. We'll talk about that one. Like if somebody has a stroke, or if somebody has, allergies, or if somebody has breathing problems, or if somebody has digestive problems, I don't know, maybe adjusting your neck. Let me think. Your trachea and your esophagus. Your trachea goes to your lungs. Your esophagus goes to your stomach. If I adjust your neck, can that change your breathing? Can it change your digestion? If I adjust your neck, do your lymph nodes and your tonsils and your sinuses and your ears and your semicircular canals and your eustachian tubes in your ears, could that change a bacterial infection of the ear canals? Could that change a sore throat? Could that change a headache? I mean, neck pain, back pain, headache are the least of my concerns. The least of my concerns. What if somebody has, diabetes? What if somebody has a stroke in the left hemisphere of their brain? Could you adjust the right part of their body and send every bit of influence over to the left part of their brain to stimulate their brain? That's what functional neurology is. That's the ninjas of chiropractic are all functional neurologists. So we're talking about how to stimulate certain parts of the brain so that you can see color again. It's nuts. But see, people don't think this. They've just been told all of this nonsense. They don't think anything else. And my favorite, number 7, chiropractors cause strokes. But don't mind all of the 67,000 drugs that are prescribed every 250,000 different kinds of drugs prescribed every day to approximately 300 million people in the United States. And don't worry, none of those drugs cause strokes, right? Because I'm pretty sure that most of the people having strokes out there didn't just walk out of a chiropractic office, right? And then number 8, I'll just go to The Joint. The Joint, don't know what that is. There's 800 plus franchises across the United States. It's the McDonald's of chiropractic. I wouldn't recommend it, but that's just me. You can go there, waste your money. They'll take your insurance and they'll run some x-rays for you, I'm sure. I do believe. But yeah, we'll stop there. Heidi, you ready for some commercials? Everybody bring Heidi up.
Alrighty, so this patient said, after my very first adjustment by Dr. Spradlin, a problematic right elbow cleared up and I stopped wearing my compression brace the very next day. I haven't had to wear the brace since.
Yay.
Oh, yay. Right elbow. How are you going to fix that by adjusting a neck or a back? Think about that one. Let's do some memes. They're going to keep creating mass shootings until you give up your guns. Once you give up your guns, they're going to kill you. You know that, right? That was a good little conversation for tea time. Right, Oksana? Did you see that one? The tea? Go back to that one real quick. Tea time. I thought of you when I saw the tea. Okay, next. A rock in bad hands killed Abel. A rock in good hands killed Goliath. It's not about the rock. It's not about the rock. When everybody comes in and they say, I'm gluten intolerant, I can't have gluten, I say, you're not gluten intolerant, you're glyphosate intolerant because of this. Your gluten intolerance is like saying, Diet Coke, let's not eat sugar, do the Diet Coke, that'll be better for you. So let's do the gluten-free stuff, and let's totally get your attention over here on the gluten-free stuff and get your attention off of the fact that all of it's poison. All your bags and cans and crackers and crap that have all the poison in there, they're just making you think gluten-free. They put a little sticker on there, a little emblem that says gluten-free. Everybody goes for it. They're like, oh, that's a new thing. That's the new no fat, no cholesterol, low cholesterol deal. No sugar, low sugar. Don't fall for it. It's crap. We sacrificed an entire generation of children's brains and health to build a pharmaceutical industry. That's about right, right? And here's the temple of social acceptance with the LGBTQIA Trojan horse with a bunch of pedos in the middle, and the Democrats are pulling them in. Wow, I got a clap from that one. Who clapped? Was that you, Gordon? Oh, that was you. Perfect. Yeah, isn't that great? Just let the pedophiles right into the right into the temple. Isn't that great? Sudden adult death syndrome because they think you're stupid. Remember that? still going on. Sudden adult death. Just take the A out and put an I in there. Sudden infant death syndrome. They're caused by the same thing, right? All the people dying suddenly in the last 3 years. Weird, right? So observations regarding healthcare and chiropractic. Let's just blow through these. These will get you all excited. Oh, and one thing I'll say before we get into this one here is chiropractic had nothing and never had anything to do with pain. It was a profession that the first systematized recorded adjustment recorded in the newspapers of Davenport, Iowa in 1895, September 19th of 1895, talked about deafness going away with an adjustment. So it had nothing to do with neck pain or back pain or headache. It had everything to do with nervous system and neurological stimulation. Okay? So let me just say that ahead of time, because people forget that. People are never taught that. Heck, most chiropractic students probably aren't even taught that. But the first adjustment restored hearing. It had nothing to do with neck pain, back pain, or headache. Fast forward 130 years, what does everybody think of chiropractic? Ambulance chasers and lawyers dealing with auto insurance. So a lot of people think neck pain, back pain, headache, because chiropractors don't stand up and go, you know what? We should be the tip of the spear in this whole natural health thing. But instead, we've been co-opted by insurance and Medicare. So I have a bone to pick with a lot of people in chiropractic. But that's part of it. Observations regarding healthcare. A lot of people just see ambulance chasers. Second one, large personal injury clinics and billboards abound. If you drive from here to Atlanta, how many giant personal injury places do you see on the billboards?
If you've been hurt.
Yes. If you've been hurt, dial 1-800-999-PAIN or whatever. Pain. 411 pain. You see them everywhere. You go through a big city, you see these injury clinics. That's what that is. And that's a lawyer that's in network with some chiropractor. And so, like down in Florida, you see them all the time. You got a car of Dominicans and a car of, Cubans, and you run them into each other, and you got 6 dudes in this car and 6 dudes in that car. They all got to go to a chiropractor. Guess who makes a buttload of money? This is a very common practice in Florida. Very common. Right? So who makes all the money? Well, you split it up with your law firm, and then you refer to a couple of chiropractors, and then it's stuck in court for a year because you got 12 people involved in this accident, right? So the lawyers make a butt ton of money. That's how it works. Pill mills and pain clinics are everywhere, but do not address the source of the pain. We have pain clinics here now. Well, we had them before, but you just see them on billboards now in Cleveland. Pain clinics. Not asking, why is the pain there? Let's just numb you, give you some Oxy, give you some Narcan, or, well, not Narcan, but give you some Narcan. We'll give you the Narcan when we kill you, because we'll jab the Narcan in you and then it'll bring you back to life. That's what Narcan is. But we'll give you some Oxy, or we'll just numb you with morphine and just kill the pain, and then you'll develop a wonderful butt-kicking addiction, and then we'll send you to a methadone clinic to put you on drugs to get you off the drugs. That's how it works. That's how it works. You want to know the truth? That's how it works. So OxyContin and fentanyl are destroying many lives. Chiropractors should be on the front lines in the current landscape of healthcare, but what are they doing? They're under the table of insurance and Medicare going, let me have a few crumbs. Let me have a few crumbs, because I don't want to start a place where I have to do, everything myself, and where everything's like cash only, and, people have to be happy and fill out good reviews and stuff like that, because I just don't have the confidence. Well, maybe you went to a school and you didn't acquire the skills that you needed to run something to be successful, and now you're just trying to rely on the crumbs falling off of the insurance company's table. Don't put yourself in that position, brother. We all have a choice. I went to the same schools you did. I did the same stuff you did. We had the same tests. We took the same board exams. Why are you living for insurance? And I'm not. I've never taken a lick of insurance since I opened the door 10 years ago. Why are you? Injections are everywhere, not just the vaccines, but insulin, allergy shots, trigger point, protein-rich plasma injections, prolotherapy, which is an absolute scam. That is an absolute scam. Everybody's talking about it. Hormone replacement therapy, Botox, anesthesia, all of it. You go to, somebody told me today, I don't know if it was Stu Peters or whatever, but somebody was saying that they tested the anesthetic from a dentist office and it had mRNA in it. I said, I told people 3 years ago, you're never going to be able to get any of this stuff again, ever. Ever. That's why you got to learn oils. You got to learn herbals. You got to learn liquids. You got to learn homeopathics. You don't want their anesthetics anymore. Why? Because all of this stuff, it's everywhere. These things are in no way natural to the human body. And there is nothing short of an organ transplant, which in the first place, why would you need one if you took care of yourself? But there is nothing outside of a car accident or a bullet wound or something like that where you need an emergency thing. There's nothing. Trust me. There's nothing. And if you really need help, man, we got stuff here that we don't even put on video, that we don't even put on the website, that we know how to help you with. So just FYI, we're a good person to have in your back pocket. I'm just telling you. So that right there, you don't want any injections, but they're everywhere. What do I mean by that? Next slide, please. Check this out. More injections are coming. IV hydration therapy is the new trend for vitamin injections and hangover remedies. I could not believe this. There's one of these here in town. Not this exact one, but look at the name of it. Ritual Mobile IV Hydration and Wellness. This is out of, I don't want to tell you, this isn't in Cleveland, but this is, what do they do? Well, and you can go right there to the website. It will blow your mind. Go to Ritual IV Hydration. It will blow your mind. IV drips, you can do a hangover recovery. You can do immunity boost drip. You can do a Myers mix, whatever the hell that is. Athletic recovery, beauty ritual, PMS relief, $150. Boom. IV drips. What's in it? Who cares? Put it in my veins, right? Injections, tri-immunity shot, fat burner, B12, and biotin. Biotin for like your hair and your skin and your nails, stuff like that. That is one. Mobile IV hydration. They will come to your office, put a needle in you, and put a sack of synthetic vitamins and pump it into you at your home or at your office. These are popping up everywhere. Everywhere. There is one within, you could walk there from this office. And people think, this is great. As if we need more injections. IV hydration. It's fascinating to me. It's fascinating. But yeah, it's called Ritual. Isn't that interesting? I wonder what their intention is. So next. Then beyond that, more injections. Oh no, we already talked about the IV hydration. Next. Oh yeah. New trend for vitamin injections, hangover remedies. This is also too. This is everywhere. The gene testing, it's everywhere. Everywhere you go, every office, everything you do. The 23andMe, the Ancestry.com, so many medical places, even natural healthcare offices want your DNA. There is a reason. There is a reason. They can rebuild your face from a drop of your blood. With the AI and the computer systems out there now, they can touch something, and they have now your touch DNA. So they can rebuild your facial structure. They can figure out who you are just from taking your DNA. So now what's happening is people are getting, they have the sample of DNA from a crime scene, but they don't have it in CODIS. They don't have it in a database somewhere. So what do? They contact 23andMe, they contact Ancestry.com, and they get all the records. They figure it out, and they plug everything into their own stuff, into the stuff that you've provided. And now they can, by testing the DNA with AI and everything, they can figure out that, okay, this father and this mother had 4 kids, and we know that 3 of them are girls. There's 1 boy. Yes, boys and girls are still a thing, right? So we know that out of these 4 kids, there was only 1 male, and the DNA at the crime scene was the male. So guess what? They show up to this dude's house, take him in because they know it's him. That's what they're doing with your DNA. It's not so that you can tell that you're 10% Native American. I promise you. So all of this stuff is everywhere. And I know natural healthcare offices that just do a little swab in the cheek, stuff it in the mail, send it out, and we'll send you your personalized nutritional stuff based on your saliva. It's nuts. It's crazy. And everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. All the cool kids. Oh, and don't forget the Shotpocalypse and children's vaccine schedule, the Children of Shotzilla. If you want to know more, or you know people who need to know more, Shotpocalypse and Children of Shotzilla. Gene testing. Despite the events of the last 3 years and the evidence of increasing disease, many are still trusting this broken system of healthcare in hopes of somehow getting relief from a magic pill or a specialist that knows about my disease that only 3 people in the world have, or whatever. So the same doctors and systems that bowed to the agenda in 2020 are somehow morally absolved in 2023 while they openly target gender reassignment surgeries as a new income stream. Why are we talking about this? Just all these observations regarding healthcare, chiropractic. What I'm telling you is get on board here before you are sideswiped and wiped, just completely wiped out by the system. That's what I'm telling you. A little bit more. Hip and knee replacements are all over the place. Next. Public is obsessed with alkaline lifestyles, which are nonsense, physiologically problematic. If I hear one more person come in here and tell me, yeah, I drink alkaline water all day, that's why you're sick. If God wanted the pH of the water to be different, God would have made the pH of the water to be different. But he didn't want the pH of the water to be different, so he kept the pH of the water the same. Don't change the pH of the water. I know that breaks a lot of people's hearts. That really ruins the $6,000 they spent on their Kangen. But I'm telling you, you do not want to be alkaline. Your body is made of nucleic acids in your DNA. Your body is made of amino acids in your protein, and your body is made of essential fatty acids in all your fats and all your skin and all your hair. So your body is an acidic wonderland. And the last thing you want to do, which is why they've invaded all the natural healthcare places, the last thing you want to do is anything alkaline. The last thing. Oh, I'm going to teach a whole class on this over the summer because I'm getting just the alkaline stuff is everywhere. And it all started from one book. It all started from one book in the healthcare stores, in the health food stores. Next. Observations. Billboards and commercials are primarily advertising some form of medical care in top centers in the country. I want you to see this. When you leave here tonight, when you pull out on Key Street, I want you to notice the billboards, and I want you to count the number of medical insurance, medical insurance, Botox, medical insurance, lottery, medical. I want you to count. It'll blow your mind. Go to Chattanooga, it'll blow your mind even worse. Next. All the nutritionists whose textbooks were published by pharmaceutical companies are known as registered dietitians or certified nutritionists. So when you're talking to somebody and they say, oh yeah, I'm a dietitian, or I'm a nutritionist, understand that in most cases, their textbooks were written by Pfizer. Next. Naturopaths who inject homeopathic vaccines or other substances are not natural. We get phone calls on this all the time, ever since 2021. People calling saying, do you guys do homeopathic vaccines? No, we do not. It's kind of an oxymoron. It's like, do you guys use peacekeeper missiles? It's kind of homeopathic vaccines. I know it's a thing that naturopaths do. I get it. It's out there. But just, you put those two words together, they don't go together. They don't go together. They don't. Not in a logical world. In an emotional one, perhaps, but not in a logical world. Chiropractors who take insurance and Medicare, I could tell you stories, story after story after story. Chiropractors who pay medical doctors to inject their patients, also known as integrative health. Or if you do it opposite, if it's a medical doctor that hires a chiropractor to throw in some adjustments, and then you just call it, functional medicine or something like that. I don't know. They make up all kinds of names. And then you got all kinds of people going to holistic MDs. They say, well, my medical doctor is holistic. I say, that's great. How many drugs are you on? 14. Then he's not holistic. He defines the word holistic and you don't look it up. Makes no sense. But I hear it all day, every day, that you go to a holistic doctor, but you're on more drugs than a junkie, right? They're required. If you're going to an MD, medical doctor, what is he allowed to do? Drugs and surgery. That's it. Understand that. His license didn't change just because he put holistic on his website. His license did not change. Unless he completely broke out of the system, he does not take insurance or Medicare anymore unless he's living in a hut on a beach somewhere. Then he might be outside the system. But if he just put holistic on his healthcare on his website and he's looking for Google AdWords for you to come to his website, so he puts holistic MD there, that's all that's holistic, is a word on his website. If he's using drugs and surgeries, guess what he just eliminated himself from being? Holistic. I hate to say it, but just because he says he's holistic doesn't mean he's holistic. Okay? That's good, isn't it? That's a good point. That's some good preaching. New Age witchcraft has infiltrated hospitals and integrative health centers as yoga, meditation, and ketamine therapy are included in treatments. Ketamine therapy, horse tranquilizer. There's one here in Cleveland. Ketamine therapy, it's a hallucinogenic, and it's a horse tranquilizer, and now they've made it a psychiatric treatment to help people with PTSD and pain. Tell me that's not weird. You can't move your legs, right? And yoga and meditation centers in the hospitals all over the place. So people like to think that the hospitals are places of healing, but they're Baptist, Catholic, Methodist hospitals that have no affiliation now with anything other than that name, perhaps, which are all run by Jesuit, Freemason, Illuminati doctors, right? Pretty much. And witches. Lots of witches. Witches love to be nurses, by the way, FYI. Chiropractors recommending pacemakers and surgeries while completely ignoring the role of nutrition. If you did nutrition, you probably wouldn't need the surgery and you definitely wouldn't need the pacemaker. But of course, you can't talk about nutrition. Food and Drug Administration only does what? Drugs. Drugs, right? What was the previous name to the Food and Drug Administration? Here, I'll prove it to you. They only do drugs. Why? What was the previous name of the Food and Drug Administration? Before it was called the FDA, it was called the Bureau of Chemistry. What kind of chemistry? Inorganic chemistry. Inert chemical, petrochemical toxins. Next. Other observation. We got a lot of observations, don't we? Lots of observations. Sorry, but you know what? You guys are learning. Chiropractors, how much did you pay to get in here? It's worth it, isn't it? See? Chiropractors who refer patients to the same orthopedic surgeon who replaced his own mother's hip. I love that one. More observations. Functional medipractors, medical chiropractors, I love that term, who take blood labs or do, this is the new rage, live blood cell microscopy. And I don't have a problem with live blood cell microscopy. I just don't do it. I just don't want to do it. But don't teach nutrition or detoxification. Why don't we teach nutrition and detoxification and let your blood take over? Let your blood do what it's going to do, and we won't have to sit there and study it and get, Sharps containers, and I wouldn't have to put a needle in your vein and pull out your blood and put it under a microscope and light it and have all this equipment. Why don't we just trust the nutrition and trust the detoxification of your body, and we wouldn't have to do the live blood cell microscopy? It's like MRIs and CAT scans and blood labs. And all. Do you want that, or would you rather just eat good food and take some supplements and detox your body from all the crap that you poisoned it with for the last 55 years?
Where are they getting the blood cell microscopy?
They take it out of you in the office. Yeah, and then they put it under a microscope, and then they say, see the fungus, and see the parasites, and see this, and see that, and see the nanobots, and see the vaccine. Sports performance chiropractors who ignore the onslaught of increasing disease while primarily treating only athletes. I went to school with a bunch of these no-neck meatheads that would carry around 5-gallon jugs of water all day in between pumpitudes, right? And they would be, well, I want to work for the Dolphins. I want to work for the Jaguars. What about your mom and dad who are diabetic with, have had cancer 3 times? What about them? You just want to work for the $1 million athletes? I get it. I get where your head's at, brother. I see. So see, I do have a bone to pick with some of these guys. It's just they're not in my world. That's not in my wheelhouse. I don't want to do any of that crap. But chiropractors who rarely, if at all, actually adjust by hand because of maybe they're afraid, or maybe they just lack clinical competence. Maybe they were just, watching too many hockey games and throwing beer at the TV on a Friday night, Saturday night while they were in chiropractic school, and they weren't learning how to adjust people. Maybe that's it. Maybe they just didn't want to. Maybe they just had it handed to them and they never learned anything in school. And so they got out and they were like, well, shoot, what do I do now? I don't know how to adjust. Well, I'm going to use these little devices. I'm going to go click, 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 rub their back a little bit with a little vibrator thing, and then send them on their way and hope they pay me for it. See? Doesn't work. Sorry, guys. I knew about 2 months into school that I better figure this out, or else I was going to get out of school 4 years, 5 years later, and have absolutely no skills and not know how to fix anybody. And I was going to be in a world of hurt because it's not free and it's a lot of work. And then you get done and you're like, what do I do? I didn't want to be that guy. So I spent every weekend I could driving all the way to Orlando to go to seminars to listen to real doctors who fixed real people. I didn't get here by listening to everything I was taught in school. We'll talk more about that later on. Just some observations. Next. Most chiropractors and nutritionists focus very little, I find this odd, on detoxification from our increasingly poisonous world. Are the chemicals and the things in the food and the air and the water and the cosmetics and the cleaning supplies and all the crap, are the chemicals going up or going down in number and ubiquitousness? Going up. Every day, week, month, year? Up. So if I ignore all of the diseases that are caused by being toxic, by not focusing on how to help people detox, whether it's foot spa, sauna, pulse, red light, whether it's nutritional detox, whatever, if I just don't acknowledge the chemicals that are killing people and maiming them and their kids, how are we going to fix them? That's impossible. It's impossible. So here are the trends that you see. Once you understand that, then if you look in the research all over, if you look in the headlines, these are the 3 things that are happening to American healthcare. Everyone's getting stupider. Has anybody noticed that? And I don't mean that flippantly. I mean everybody's Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, neurological problems, memory, clarity, focus, cognition, all this stuff. Neurological, behavioral disorders, all the things that are happening with kids, ALS, people dumping water on their heads, multiple sclerosis, all kinds of lower nervous system things. The nervous system is being attacked in most people, right? And then you've got decreased fertility. Well, I don't know. What happened in the last 3 years that would decrease fertility? Send birth rates into the toilet. Any idea? What happened in the last 3 years? Everybody wearing masks. Nobody's making out. Nobody's knocking boots. And everybody's now taking a shot that's, making them clot up and not have babies. I saw one OBGYN that said her miscarriage rate went up to 25% of her patients were miscarrying. That's one OBGYN who was a little bit shocked, and she couldn't figure out why. Unbelievable, right? So the birth rates, the IVF, everybody doing IVF, everybody coming in here going, I can't have babies, I can't have babies. And then they're spending $20, $30, $40, $50,000 on IVF. It's crazy. And then you got the vaccine. We already talked about that. And then increased chronic sickness, right? Does this look like that's doable? Nobody would look at that and go, yeah, no, that's wrong, right? Everybody knows. Everybody in your gut of guts, right? Everybody knows you. Everybody that you know has been going to more funerals in the last 2 years than you ever heard of in your life. All of you. How do I know? Because I talk to other family members. Every person that comes in here, like, I went to 6 funerals since January, and I hadn't been to 6 funerals in, the last 12 years. So what do you think changed? I would ask. Well, I don't know. I wonder. And everybody's saying the same story. It's crazy. But you've got the chronic sickness. What do we call this? We call that cancer, stroke, heart disease, diabetes, all the chronic sickness things, arthritis, allergies, all that stuff, autoimmune problems, disability, right? Is disability in the last 3 years, did disability go up or down? Are the chemicals going up or down? Are the drugs going up or down? Are the vaccines going up or down? See the pattern? I mean, it doesn't take a peer-reviewed, double-blind, placebo-controlled, random clinical study to point it out. Quote your source. Look around. How about that? How about just be perceptive, right? Why? Check this out. These occur, all of those things, despite increasing availability of all the crap we just mentioned, and a burgeoning number of medical complexes incessantly popping up across the nation. Urgent care centers and walk-in minute clinics, aka dock-in-a-box drug depots, have blanketed many cities around the nation. This is a massive industry. These walk-in clinics, why? They're trying to undercut the hospitals and the ERs because they know they can do it cheaper, so they just hire a bunch of doctors and nurses, stick them in. There are, probably 5 walk-in clinics, urgent care centers within walking distance of this office, right here in Cleveland. Probably 5 of them. 3 of them are right down on the same street. And then if you turn on Stewart right here, there's 3 of them right in a row. Different ones, right? So the question is when, rather than if, as to the timing of the impending medical industrial complex collapse. It's coming. It's coming. How do I know? My favorite movie right here. You ready, Jonathan? It's like a 2-hour or a 2-minute thing. I want you to hold this right here because this is the medical system of the future, okay? It has, the lights light up. It says tumor, Ebola, which is E. coli mixed with Ebola, right? E. coli and Ebola, they call it Ebola. Just gas, tapeworm, unknown, gout, lice, leprosy, and I can't tell what that one is. But this is the hospital of the future. Go ahead. You've seen this before.
Oh, is someone not feeling well? Your illness is very important to us.
Next.
Welcome to the Health Master Inferno, powered by Cure Me Technology.
This goes in your mouth. This one goes in your ear. And this one goes in your butt.
Come on. Hurry up, asshole! Come on.
Shit, hang on a second. This one.
Hurry up!
This one goes in your mouth.
Come on!
Oh, that's a movie. If you have not seen this movie, it's everything that's happening right now. It's called Idiocracy. There's some filth in it. I'll just let you know. But there's some stuff that you would think there's no way that would ever happen. And this movie's 20 years old. So there's no way that would ever happen. But really what they're doing, they foretold everything that's going on right now. Boys being girls, girls being boys. I told this in my last class. I know this class is a lot similar to part 1. However, I want people to get this because this is a huge deal. I won't tell you the whole story behind this. I'll just read the stuff. Let's go to the next one. I'll just blaze through this because if you want to know the story behind this whole serial killers thing and how it came to me and how I figured this out and oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. This is what's going on. Go back to the first class, watch it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it right now. I'll just read this right here. This is at a museum. This was a placard at a serial killer exhibit. It was a crime museum up in Pigeon Forge. If you want to know the whole story, go watch. But I'm just going to read this right here. Go watch part 1. While the stereotype is that all serial killers are white males, since most of the famous ones are, the percentage of white males among serial killers since 1900 hovers around 50%. It is true that women are much less likely to be serial killers. However, for some reason, serial killers are a particularly American creation. Do you guys get that? With nearly 3,000 cases in the last 100 years compared to less than 200 in the United Kingdom, the next highest. Serial killers are a particularly American creation with 3,000 cases in the last 100 years. The next most numerous country for serial killers is the United Kingdom. Well, and that's like 4 countries altogether, and there's only 200. So how does the United States almost, what is that? 10x, 15x, go from 200 to 3,000 serial killers to the next most numerous country? How are they number 1 by a landslide? Well, I don't know. So I'm standing here reading this at a museum, and just it was an instant. 1987 is considered the deadliest known year for serial killers in the United States, 361 confirmed victims. That was 40 years ago, right? Where are we at now? Well, let's just go back. Jane was going to take a picture here. This is fascinating because I knew exactly from what I'd learned and from what I'd seen, and I knew exactly what God was showing me because there was a reason why I went to that place that day. And this was exactly, I knew, standing right there. I knew this is what he was showing me. So here, what really happened? Why is it that America, why is this? Everything changed in the 80s. Number 1, direct-to-consumer television advertising of pharmaceuticals. America is the only 2 countries in the world that do this. America is the biggest. New Zealand is the other one. If you want to know more about that, go to Pharmakia, the roots of your Pharmakia healthcare. Go to the Cult of Modern Death Care. Go check out all the stuff we preach about this. Number 2. Now, this is just a list I came up with. I'm sure I'm leaving stuff out in preparation for this class, but in 87, why is the United States a particularly American creation, serial killers, and why did everything change in the 80s? Here's a short list. Psychiatric drugging became the norm, despite all the DARE and Just Say No campaigns in every school that I went to. You get out of school a few years later and everybody's on, meth called Adderall, right? So who won the war on drugs? The government. If you want to know more about that, go to Land of the Free, go to You Don't Have a Chemical Imbalance, Land of the Free, Home of the Crazed. It's crazy. Number 3, what happened in the 80s? Everything changed. Artificial sweeteners were added to the already compromised food supply. If you want to know that, check out the What the Food class, check out What Do I Eat class, check out Good versus Fad. Because remember, this was during the 80s. Remember the Pepsi versus Coke thing? The taste tests of the sugar water versus sugar water? Yeah. Oh, and Pepsi, you know how that lined up? North Carolina druggist started including pepsin enzyme was the first enzyme ever discovered. And so a druggist in North Carolina started putting the pepsin enzyme into sugar water cola and giving it to people with digestive problems. And so they started getting better and better and better. And then, they got the people addicted to the sugar water and the cola, and then they just removed the pepsin because the pepsin was really expensive. That used to be called Pepsi Cola. It was called Pepsi Cola because of pepsin. But they just took the pepsin out, took out the one medicinal part of it, right? Pepsin enzymes, and just left the sugar water and got everybody addicted to it. Did the price change? Nope. Nope. That was 100 years ago? But anyway, number 4, birth control pills and hormone replacement therapy became common. It's hard to run into young girls who are not put on BCPs when they start menstruating because of the pain or the blood or the mess or the whatever. And we're just going to put you on controlled menopause for the next 15, 20 years so you don't have to worry about any of that crap, right? It's a disease. You want to know how to fix that? Watch the women's class, Beauty, Birthing, and Biopsies. Number 5, big agriculture introduced genetically modified organisms and other unknown proteins and toxic chemicals to the food supply. So when you genetically modify the food, now the food has different proteins in it that your intestines are not going to recognize as food. So now you're going to end up with all these things that look like, air quotes, food allergies. And then the doctors are going to give you shots and give you drugs to fix the food allergies without ever telling you that all the big agriculture genetically modified stuff is what's making you sick because your body can't recognize these proteins. Funny, huh? Oh, and that you can go to watch the You Don't Have an Allergy class. You don't have allergies. Number 6, Hollywood mind control programming grew exponentially stronger with video stores in every town and MTV in every home. Forgot about that, didn't you? Like the smut that was unleashed in the entire nation and world with the advent of video stores, right? I sometimes forget about it. But look at the last 3 years with the advent of Netflix and all the other smut. And then number 7, the CDC's childhood vaccination schedule more than tripled in size in 1986. The CDC's childhood vaccination schedule more than tripled in size. Remember, this is all happening within the mid to late 1980s. Funny, huh? Watch Shotpocalypse or Children of Shotzilla for those WellWorks classes. Don't forget about number 8, the geoengineering projects increased by orders of magnitude. Hands in the air. You want to see that one? Geoengineering, you want the real name? Chemtrails. It's called chemtrails. Chemtrails increased by order of magnitude. Some of you Normie McNormington out there just still does not think that chemtrails are a real thing. They'll look up in the sky and they'll see checkerboards and Normie McNormington will just go, oh yeah, pretty clouds. No, they're not clouds. They're not clouds. I can assure you they're not clouds. But they put them in the sitcoms and the dramas and the cartoons for kids to see and normalize it. Number 9, fluoridated water is still legal in America. There's only 6 other countries in the world that fluoridate their water. Your government loves you. Remember that. The class you want to know about water is you're full of it. And then number 10, proliferation of electromagnetic fields with cable television, wireless devices, cellular phones all began right around that time and increased into wireless internet and everything, but it kind of started in the 80s. But all the EMF stuff started previously with like radio waves and then late 1800s, early 1900s, and then it went to sonar, and then it went to, widespread satellite crap, which is really just air balloons. Way up in the, we won't get into that. But anyway, that's the 5G pentagram. If you want to know, there's a class for you on number 10. It's called the 5G pentagram. So why am I saying all this? Main points right here. 1989 is widely known as the gateway year. Back then, that slide I showed you from the Crime Museum in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, whatever, what year did they say everything took off? 87. Strange, right? New autoimmune diseases are discovered almost daily now, annually I put. You will not find 40-year-old autistic kids. However, you will find patients coming in who are 50, 55, 60 years old who report that they're autistic because they took an online test and the online test said that they have autism. So what I mean by autistic kids, you will not find a 40-year-old autistic kid. I'm talking wearing diapers and helmets and banging their heads against the wall. Non-communicative, non-verbal. You will not find over 40 years old. It doesn't happen. It will not happen. You will also rarely find an autistic female. Am I right or am I right? How many out there have ever seen an autistic female? Ever? Nobody in this room? How many of you have seen an autistic male? Every hand goes up. Now you know why, right? Some patients report that they are autistic because they took a test online. So I can assure you, if you were able to take a test online, you're not autistic. Right, Jonathan? Sure. Exactly. American healthcare is a disgrace and completely ignores the above changes in society. You will never hear them talk about any of that. You just experienced a 3-year-long psychological operation involving government, media, healthcare, and entertainment, and it's still advancing with no end in sight. And 50 years after Stonewall and 5 years after the redefinition of marriage, our society is chemically lobotomized, and there's no going back for the majority of the population. No going back. How do we recover from this? Good question. Because people are indoctrinated, fluoridated, medicated, vaccinated, glyphosated, cosmeticated, food sedated, irradiated. It is very likely that you're having a hard time communicating with people in your life due to the list above. Effects of this will lead to misdiagnosis by the medical community and inevitable drugging for life, and sometimes these will lead to symptoms that chiropractors don't even recognize. Why? Because they're not trained to. They don't teach you this in schools. Families and workplaces are in conflict over all of this misunderstood physiology and fraudulent science. So we just covered that for quickly. The miraculous origins, here's the point. Here's the whole reason I wanted you to see that. Because the miraculous origins of chiropractic simply cannot overcome, this is the main point I want you to get, the deterioration of human physiology is listed above. In essence, what I'm trying to say is pushing bones simply will not fix chemical poisoning. It is impossible. There are chiropractors out there that believe that you can adjust the cancer out of somebody even when the cancer was caused by years and years of being exposed to toxic chemicals. But that just doesn't make any logical sense, right? You have to teach the people to not get the cancer, or else when you adjust the cancer out of them, so to speak, what's going to happen when they go back to their old behavior? It'll return with 7 of its buddies, right? So, all right, commercial break, Heidi, and then we're almost done. And then we're going to run through the part 2 lies and what the truth really is. Come on over.
Right, this patient said, I was having headaches, abdominal pain, and extreme tension almost daily. This would lead to constant stress and restlessness, which would then lead to insomnia, causing me to get only 2 to 3 hours of sleep every night. After 7 weeks, I now have no abdominal pain, headaches, stress, and I now sleep 7 to 8 hours at night. I feel amazing overall and now know how to properly nourish my body.
Fabulous. It's the gift that keeps on giving. You teach somebody how to take care of themselves, and they'll take care of them, their kids, their grandkids, forever, right? You teach them, what is it? Give them a fish, they'll eat for a day. Teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime, right? What changed in the last 30 years? Wow, whoever put this thing together, thank you, Nadia. Whoever put this together. Disease or disorder, and the increase since 1990, that was a perfect timing. ADHD went up 819%. Increase since 1990. What were we just talking about? ADHD, 820%. Alzheimer's disease went up 300%. Autism went up 2,100%. Bipolar disease in youth went up 11,000%. Celiac, 1,000%. Chronic fatigue, 11,000%. Depression, diabetes, fibromyalgia, hypothyroidism, lupus, osteoarthritis, and sleep apnea all went up hundreds of percent. But this is despite your medical doctors and sometimes your chiropractors throwing every drug, every surgery, every imaging system at you every day. This is what healthcare is doing. How do we break people out of this? You just saw, they're indoctrinated, glyphosated, medicated, vaccinated. They have to want, you can't help somebody unless they want to help themselves. Next. This wasn't written to keep you in line, it was written to keep them in line. Oh, yes. Why won't you date somebody that's jabbed? I'm more interested in a long-term relationship. Yes. Awake yet? In the 60s, oil's going to be gone in 10 years. In the 70s, another ice age in 10 years. In the 80s, acid rain will destroy all the crops in 10 years. In the 90s, the ozone layer is going to be gone in 10 years. In 2000, ice caps will be gone in 10 years. None of it happened, but you still got more taxes. Remember all the acid rain crap? Remember all the ozone crap? They just conveniently stopped talking about it. Global warming turned into global warming turned into climate change because it's not global and it's not warming, so they had to call it something else. We've exhausted all conventional measures. One last desperate option is to put you on an alternative natural medicine that is inexpensive, non-addictive, and safe. You'll never hear that. You'll never hear that. Counterculture, 1980, 2023. And she's got an ultrasound because they're pregnant, right? Funny, huh? You should never do these, by the way, those ultrasounds. Never, 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 never. You should, well, I mean, it's like peeing in the wind. But yeah, they're bad ideas. Telling a woman to never do an ultrasound, it's like, yeah, that's sacrilege. But yeah, you might want to look into it. Me missing the jab, me missing the social credit system, and me missing the CBDC. Once again, oh, this right here, show up on Saturday at 1 o'clock. We'll teach you how to miss the CBDC. Because, it's so interesting that, the mark is all about, no man will buy or sell. But the whole thing about the kingdom system isn't, the kingdom system doesn't work on buying and selling. The kingdom system works on sowing and reaping. So if you don't want to do the buy-sell thing, guess what? You don't want to do this. And we're going to show you how to get out of the buy-sell CBDC thing, right? It's going to be great. I would highly recommend it to everybody. So why do we tell you all this? Because the history of divine design, you might want to know this. Speaking of chiropractic, we started on February 10th, right around Valentine's Day. My little heart was beating. It was the 9th anniversary of divine design in 2023. We started out in a little tiny office down on Peerless Road. Next, we started with no advertising, no sign, and only hiring patients with a testimony. Those were the three things that before I turned the key in the lock, I really felt like the Lord was telling me at the time, because it was only me, right? Don't advertise, I'll be your advertisement. Don't do a sign, I'll be your sign. And don't hire anybody without their own testimony. And how do they have a testimony? Well, they have to become a patient. That's how it started, and that's how it's still going. The only thing that's changed is the sign out front, and we didn't do that, and that wasn't our idea. That was the church's idea that actually owns the building that you're sitting in right now. In the pews, right? The pews are ours, but the building is the church's. The building, the church of God of Prophecy put the sign out there. So I really didn't have a choice over it. I felt like he kind of released us and said, you can have a sign now. But we attract many from multiple states who have and make the drive. They have the drive and they make the drive, or they stay locally to recover their health. Some people say, hey, I want my mom to come here for 6 months. Great, bring her here. We'll teach her how to eat. We'll get her better. We'll replace some of her organs. We'll send her back home. She's on her own. Great. No problem. Well, I want my sister to come here, but she lives a long way away and she can't come every week. Great. We'll just do her nutrition right over the internet. Simple. We'll send it. She'll send us her food log and we'll send her the stuff she needs right to her door. It'll get there in 2 days. Easy. If she'll take it. But she's not going to be in the culture of the office, so it's very difficult for her to meet people that she went to high school with when she walks in, like everybody else does. But we do that. We have experienced nearly 10 years of steady growth, steady growth, almost 10 years. We're at 9.5 years right now. With no deaths, no deaths, no insurance, no imaging, no x-rays, no blood labs, and very few symptoms even remaining for those who actually do what we ask them to do for as long as we ask them to do it. Find a doctor's office that does that. I know it's pumping your own tires a little bit, but hey, if we don't pump our own tires, nobody else is going to do it, are they? Our best, well, I guess she did. Okay, I'll have to send her a $20 bill or something. I'll have to pay her. Our best referral sources are from failed pharmaceutical interventions, the medical field itself, and ludicrous television advertisements. Everybody knows. They come in and they say, oh, I can't stand the advertisements. Well, great. Now that Tucker's off Fox, take your TV where it belongs, out to the dumpster. Oh, God, it got quiet in here. Wow. All you conservative Christians, now that there's no Tucker, you don't have any reason to have a TV in your house now, do you? I'll help you murder it. Call me. I'll come to your house. I'll do an exorcism on your TV. I'd love to. I love to murder those things. Our Obamacare and COVIDs were the best possible advertisements ever. Next. We do not participate with any insurance. We have a rabid fan base of devoted zealots who love what we do. We don't need Blue Cross Blue Shield. So despite being censored from YouTube and Vimeo and being shadow banned by Facebook constantly, starting out in early 2020, our videos on 5 separate platforms reach thousands every month, and it's rapidly becoming a significant referral source. Fabulous. I like that. Statistical relevance. Everybody who walks in here, 90% of them are going to improve 50 to 90% within the first 90 days, 12 weeks. It's easy. It's simple. It's straightforward. How is all this possible? It sounds too good to be true. It's too easy. Well, it's possible because there are many ingredients in our secret sauce. We won't tell you all the ingredients, but it's better than Kentucky Fried Chicken finger looking good Colonel Sanders stuff. Word of mouth is our main referral source. That's part of it. And everything we do, here's another big part of it, is safe, it's effective, very unlike the vaccines, safe and effective, empowering, valuable, and ancient. We use plants and animals. It's easy. We utilize 7 ancient tools. What are they? Light, water, heat, electricity, plants, animals, my hands. Boom. 7 things. It's simple, simple, simple. And 4 modern pillars. You ever notice the 4 pillars in the room when you first walk in? There's a reason. 4 pillars. Ancient tools I just mentioned. Light, water, heat, electricity, plants, animals, and my hands. Those 7 things that God created. Like electricity, it took us a while to figure out, but everything else, electricity, it's been there for a long time. God created all that stuff, but it took us a while to discover it, is what I'm saying. And then the 4 modern pillars, well, we've got chiropractic. That's kind of a modern thing, even though it's been around for 6,000 years. Then we've got laser to address the big parts of the body with chiropractic, the submolecular tiny parts of the body with laser, and then that's 2 columns. And then the other column is nutrition to get the good things in, and the other column is detoxification to get the bad things out. So we use 7 ancient tools and 4 modern pillars, right? A couple of nice biblical numbers to support biblical natural health. It doesn't get any easier than this. It's simple. And patients simply do what we tell them to do for as long as we tell them, and they get better. It's easy. We have a narrow gate, VIP red carpet qualified acceptance. We do not accept every person that walks in here. If they want the shots and they want the drugs, they probably need to go home and watch a few of our classes and then decide if they still want to come in. But we don't just accept everybody, because those with the best insurance policies are often the sickest. And when insurance doesn't pay for it, you better know what you're doing, right? Because otherwise your doors will not be open for very long. 90% of patients, like I said, get 50 to 90% better in 90 days as measured by vitals, symptoms, and patient compliance. We don't just bring you in here and check your blood pressure and say, yeah, continue with your meds for 6 more months. See you in 6 months. Keep poisoning yourself daily twice a day for the next 6 months, and then we'll take your blood pressure again, right? We measure all kinds of vitals, symptoms, patient compliance. Every time you come in, we check you top to bottom, every organ, every tissue, every gland, every fluid, right? And then we check every supplement, and we check every dosage. We check thousands of things every time you walk in here. We do what many ignore or simply do not understand, and we use the Bible as our compass in a sea of lies. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. Fabulous. Next. How is this possible? Well, I don't know. We're not dependent upon government funding, pharmaceutical bribery, or insurance reimbursement. Sounds like a big advertisement for us, doesn't it? Sure does. We're not dependent on any one social media platform or search engine, because we're already shadow banned on Facebook and we've been canceled off YouTube, so we're not dependent on any of that crap. We educate our patient base through these wellness workshops, garnering some of the most educated and proactive patients in any doctor's office that I know of worldwide. True. Our patients read books, they watch documentaries, and attend or watch these WellWorks events to great effect. They share them with friends and family. Unfortunately, sometimes your friends and family, this is just too much for them, you know. Sometimes it's just too logical, it's too sensible. Sometimes they just want the easy way out. And sometimes it's nothing you did wrong. Sometimes it's just too much. They don't want to change. We use healthcare professional only supplement product lines consisting of only these things: whole foods, which is plants and animals, homeopathic liquids, herbals in the form of tablets and liquids, and other nutritional technologies not available through the health food store or your doctor's medical school. They will never be seen in advertisements or at any grocery stores. You will never see them on TV. You will never see them in magazines. There will never be, because they don't have marketing departments. The stuff we sell here, it's not advertised. You won't see it on TV. It's impossible. So where can I learn all this? People ask. I want to go to school for, health, or I want to go to school for medicine, or I want to go to school to be a PA, right, Heidi? Or I want to go to school to be a nurse, or I want to go to school for this or that, or parents will come in here and say, hey, since I've been coming here, I've learned a little bit, and will you talk to my daughter because she's wanting to go to PA school or she's wanting to go to nursing school or whatever? And I'll say, well, yeah. I mean, a better idea might be to have her come in and shadow and just have her come and watch what we do and have her see people getting better. I'll bring them in and I'll say, here's what you do, and you just follow the script. And they'll come in and they'll introduce themselves to the patient, and they'll ask the patient. They'll start asking the patient, hey, how long have you been here? What brought you in? Yada, yada. And then by about the 3rd or 4th patient, their head is their brain is splattered against the ceiling, and they're like, I've never heard of this. This makes sense. These people are getting better. They love it here. And so basically, we've spent a lot of time and saved parents a lot of money from very unhappy kids going to very unhappy colleges. So, and the funny thing is that if you did want to go to school for any of this, understand that you understanding your body is not required learning in any government school. I find it fascinating that people don't even know that they have a thymus or a spleen. They don't even know how many ovaries they have. Sometimes they don't know. It's fascinating. And as time went on, I thought, well, shoot, I wouldn't know any of this if I hadn't gone to school for this. But people don't know that their T cells come from their thymus, and people don't know that they have a hypothalamus. They don't know they have a basal ganglia. They don't know they have a pituitary gland. It's like, why is none of this? We're not taught any of this. Because there's power in you not understanding your body, just like there's power in you not understanding God's word. That's why it's not in the schools. There's power in you not understanding much more with financial stuff than knowing how to balance your checkbook. That's why that's the only thing they teach in school, right? Or they used to. They don't anymore. So you have to look at the things that's not taught in school and go, gosh, how would I ever find out the truth about some of this? Well, you're not taught about your body because they don't want you to know. if a 15-year-old was put on birth control pills, and that 15-year-old girl read about her menstrual cycle and understood what was going on, and then read the side effects of the drug she's on, or listened to a testimony of somebody who was on birth control pills for 5, 10, 15, 20 years and then couldn't have a kid, if they were educated, the kids on some of this stuff, it would be a different world. But see, they don't want that. So you have to understand, going into this, the deck is stacked in their favor. The house always wins, right? And when people say they want to do this, I don't often recommend it, this particular route, despite frequent requests by shadows or interns. People always ask, well, what should I do? Well, I mean, stick around, learn stuff. Pick somebody's brain, stay here, come work for us, do something that is going to educate you on the next step. Because this chiropractic, I don't recommend it for everybody. It's a lot of school, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. You could do nutrition. That's easy. Anybody could do that. You could do that. But some people don't want to do that. And some people just want to do it on their own and do their own business thing and this and that. Well, I got to admit to you, some of the times chiropractic pulls people in because it's the largest natural health care profession in the world. So you could do the nutrition and the detox and stuff on your own. It might just be a harder row to hoe for you, but I'm willing to help and talk to people and answer their questions is what I'm saying. These understandings will be made on your own dime and on your own time. Everything you have to learn, they're not going to teach you in school. Nothing I use today is anything I learned in school. None of it. You've got to figure it out on your own dime and on your own time, and they're not going to teach you any of this. Any of the stuff we do here, they're not going to teach you in any government subsidized school at all. We have redirected many future registered nurses, physician's assistants, therapists in many different ways. Next. We treat many pharmacists, technicians. That's pharmacy techs, that's rad techs, that's all kinds of techs. Any therapists like physical therapy, occupational therapy, respiratory therapy, hygienists of all types, employed in traditional medicine. Why would they come here? Because they don't want the drugs and they don't want the surgery. So when you talk to your friends and your family members and you go, yo, this cat's running a place where all the nurses and PAs and all the nurse practitioners and people come to this kid because they don't want the drugs and surgery. But somehow you're smarter than all of them by not wanting to do the natural health. It's interesting, isn't it? Your family, you've been nursing 52 years. Your family doesn't listen to you about nursing, do they? They know better. They know more, right? See how it works? Chiropractic schools teach mainstream views regarding cancer, autism, and vaccines. How do I know? Because I graduated March 22nd of 2013, or 2012, 2013. And it was a catastrophe. It was an absolute and total bass-ackward catastrophe, and I wouldn't recommend it. Many schools during the COVID's hoax were wearing masks and encouraging lethal injections in the last 3 years. That broke my heart, but I wasn't surprised. Even chiropractic board exams teach chiropractic students to refer many patients to medical doctors. So why are chiropractors, the topic of this whole thing, why are chiropractors so disjointed in their belief system and what they believe and what they do and how they do it? Well, because they went to a school where even the chiropractic board exams taught you to refer everybody. If they've got a lung problem, send them to a pulmonologist. If they've got a nerve problem, send them to a... That was what my board exams consisted, part of it. Some of them were very difficult. Some of them were very stupid. But all of it was a waste of time. All of it. Much like college these days, right? No accredited government school properly will teach you whole food nutrition or multimodal, any type of multimodal, multi-purpose, multiple ways of doing detox. They just won't do it. Some chiropractic schools are actually seeking prescriptive rights so that DCs can play next to medical doctors, despite the Wilk versus AMA case that I just showed you 40 years ago. Everybody forgot about it. So now you've got whole entire chiropractic schools that are going, yeah, we want prescriptive rights so that we can play on an even level playing field with all the medical doctors who are poisoning people because we need more doctors to write prescriptions. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Everybody knows we need more people writing prescriptions. Yeah. So here's the main point after all that. Every chiropractor, if you start this phrase with him, he will finish it the same way. If you say, the power that made the body, he will finish the sentence saying, heals the body. Because we're all taught that. That's chiropractic philosophy. There's 3 parts of chiropractic. There's the art, the science, and the philosophy. And the philosophy aspect of it is the fist in your face to medicine, the whole like the power that made the body heals the body thing, you know, D.D. Palmer, B.J. Palmer, hardcore 120 years ago, what he was seeing, you know, the miracles that just don't happen anymore because everybody's poisoned, right? The power that made the body heals the body. Here's the point. Here's the reason why I think there's so many lies told in chiropractic. Because according to their philosophy, you have to ask some of these chiropractors, what was this power that actually made the body? Because you'll get varied answers. Do they actually read, follow, and practice the Bible in everyday life? You got to ask them. You got to find out. Some of them will tell you the power that made the body heals the body, and you're like, oh, he's a Christian. But then he's got a yoga studio in the back, and his wife has, you know, breast implants, and you know, he plays golf and, you know, does all kinds of crap on the weekends with all his lawyer buddies who's doing all his PI cases. How do I know? Oh, I don't know. Little birdie told me. I don't know. Do they actually read, follow, and practice the Bible in everyday life? You got to ask them. Very important. You got to figure this one out for yourself. There's two different things there. Well, I was born and I went to this school and I go to this church, and or like I had a radical rock and roll transformation, and this right here, brother, changes everything. It's two different worlds. Depends. So there will be no New Age witchcraft inside these walls, and there will be no artificial intelligence. Take it or leave it. You love it? Great. You don't like it? Great. So here's the truth about the lies, and then we're done. Here's the final denouement, as they say. Let me floss your nerve, put some kinesio tape on your hamstrings, and slather you with biofreeze. This is said by somebody, let's say you had a pulled hamstring, and a chiropractor is going to say, let's floss your nerve, let's put some kinesio tape. You've seen the volleyball players and the basketball players, and they're running around like a kinesio tape, and it's like four big, you know, it's a big thing across tape. It looks like a wing across here, and it goes down here and attaches. It looks really cool. You know, looks kind of almost AI. Looks kind of like, what's it really doing? Well, the kinesio tape, there's a purpose to it, and yeah, it kind of works. But this is not a chiropractor talking. This is a physical therapist. And if you really want to know the ingredients of biofreeze, how many of you even know what biofreeze is? It's a topical analgesic that's sold in about 90% of chiropractic offices in the United States. And if you knew what was in it, it's created by who? A pharmaceutical company. So when somebody sells that crap in their office, I know, or well, it might be a subsidiary of a pharmaceutical company, but it ain't good stuff. Let's just say that. It's garbage. But if you're pushing on somebody's muscles and nerves, if you're sticking tape on them and you're slathering them with biofreeze, that tells me that you're not spending enough time adjusting them, right? Or you could percuss. Why am I using my hands to do this? Who knows? Next. You need 152 visits a year. To this, I would ask, that's 3 visits a week. I've heard people say this to me, that their old chiropractor signed them up for 152 visits a year. They had to mortgage their house, remortgage their house, and put stuff on a credit card and all kinds of stuff. It's crazy, right? There are whole entire management programs out there in chiropractic to make sure that you show them a really nasty x-ray, and so they're scared into signing up. It's called scare care. That's what we call it. But it's so that people are in this mindset of, oh my God, if I don't get adjusted 3 times a week for the next 52 weeks, thus the math, if I don't get adjusted 3 times a week, you know, this could turn into a herniated disc, or this could turn into osteophytes in my low back, or disc degeneration, or XYZ, fill in the blank, whatever the doctor told them. So you scare them into care. My question would be, why are you not doing nutrition? And what kind of crystal ball do you have? Because I want one, right? Number 23. Let's get you out of pain. Remember me saying chiropractic has nothing to do with pain? Chiropractic has everything to do with stimulating the neurological system, right? Stimulating blood flow. You got a problem with your shoulder, guess what? We're going to adjust your shoulder to get blood flow to that area, because blood is the only thing that gives life to your flesh. That's a biblical concept, right? So if we adjust your shoulder and we get good stuff in and bad stuff out, because the blood comes there, right? And blood does what blood is designed to do, which is to carry out the bad metabolites and bring the nutrition in to rebuild that joint and the arteries and the nerves and the veins and the lymph nodes that are there in that tissue. Getting you out of pain is the least of my worries. I know in your mind you don't like the pain, and I get that, but it has nothing to do with what chiropractic actually does. We have other stuff in here in the office to get you out of pain. Chiropractic has nothing to do with that. This sometimes can help that, but that's not the point. Number 24, love this. This goes for the Mercolas. This goes for the Bergs and Bergmans. This goes for all the cats out there who are trying to rip off Standard Process and all the other companies out there who are doctor only. And what they're trying to do is outsource to other companies that will white label, and all the people out there who are trying to take down Young Living and all these big giant companies that are like juggernauts in their field. What people will do, the Josh Axes of the world and the other people out there who are trying to capitalize on the billion and billion dollar market, nutritional supplement market, will call up a company and they will get that company to produce a bottle with their name or their picture or their information on it, and just pick what you want in the bottle. And then we'll make massive batches of it, and then we'll ship it to Costco and Amazon, and we'll put it in all the health food stores. And 90% of it will be, 98% of the ascorbic acid that's made in the world comes straight out of China. You think ascorbic acid is vitamin C. To whole food nutritionists such as myself, we know that ascorbic acid is just a very small part of the vitamin C complex that God created. But it's the least little part that the FDA rules as being able to be called vitamin C. So you have the whole engine in your car, ascorbic acid is the fan belt. But the FDA allows the fan belt to be called the engine. Okay? So people will call and order these big supplements to put, these big synthetic supplements, and then they'll put their name and their picture on it, and that's called white label or private labeling. And then before you know it, people are taking Stephen Gundry stuff because Stephen Gundry wrote a book on how beans will kill you, and so nobody eats beans anymore, right? A medical doctor that doesn't know any of the stuff, and so he'll create his own supplements, a line. It's a white label or a private label bottle with his picture or his name or whatever, and that's all you need. Never mind that Royal Lee was the most genius nutritionist of the 20th century, and, never mind that these guys, Weston A. Price and these guys have been doing nutrition for 150 years. Never mind any of that. We've got it all figured out right now with my synthetic crap that was made in China. And it's got my picture on it, and it's at a wonderful price, and that's really all you need, and that's number 24. But you'll see that all over the place. There are whole entire chiropractic franchises that run off of their own private label supplements that they create, that they make in a third-party laboratory, and then they sell those private third-party supplements. They're private label supplements made by a third party. They'll sell it to all of their patients, and they're trying to bypass all of the big heavy-duty nutritionist juggernaut good information that's been out there for 200 years because they want the profit, and they want to sell people synthetic stuff. It's crazy. Nope, not for me. Number 25. I can't adjust your herniated disc. If I had a nickel for everyone who came in here and they had back surgery or they had some kind of drug problem because of a herniated disc and the pain that it involved, if I had a nickel for every person that wished they wouldn't have had surgery for a herniated disc, and that was the only option that they were presented with by a surgeon who's going to surge, that's what a surgeon does. So when chiropractors say, oh, you have a herniated disc? Oh, I can't adjust that. Oh my God, you know how many different adjustments there are? There's thousands of different adjustments. And you can't do anything. You can't do laser, you can't do percussion, you can't do facet popping, you can't do side posture, you can't do standing adjustments, laying down, prone, supine. You can't think of anything to do to help that person. Are you nuts? We've got the Pro ST unit in there. I can take you from a 10 out of 10 back pain to a 0 out of 10 back pain in about 4.5 minutes, if I'm in a hurry. And that's just this thing with like ratchet straps and seatbelts stuck to it. It's not real technological. I mean, it's pretty easy. But there's nothing that you could find to do to help someone with a herniated disc. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. But you're taught this, and people believe it, that you just can't adjust them. You'll make them worse. I've never done it. And my insurance premiums for a year, malpractice insurance, I pay $1,800 for a year. Because I'm not writing prescriptions and I'm not cutting you. So it's cheap. It's easy. Because chiropractic is pretty safe. The insurance companies know it. Why don't people? Number 26, we're going to check your range of motion. That's garbage. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of wasted time. Number 27, we only do soft touch chiropractic. Soft touch chiropractic. Ready? $50. Where's my money?
Cough it up.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. 28. You just need a good multivitamin and some fish oil. Just go down to Walmart, go down to Rite Aid, just buy the best multivitamin you can find and some fish oil. You see the problem with that? Kind of related to this one. Because the multivitamins in the fish oil are intimately linked to very much sickness and are intimately linked to a port coming out of the People's Republic of China. Number 29, all you need is some anti-inflammatory meds. Take a few Tylenol for the pain. If I had more people tell me that this is what their chiropractor told them, just take some anti-inflammatories. Some non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, NSAIDs, right? I hear it all the time. What's the problem with this? If you're a chiropractor, what's the problem? Who are you promoting? Is that the most illogical thing you'd ever hear a chiropractor? Knowing the Wilk versus AMA case, knowing all that, and then you're going to promote this, that just tells me you know nothing. But I hate to say it. I hate to throw people under the bus, but you have to call it what it is. It's just stupidity, right? Number 30. Don't worry. I'll refer you to the same surgeon that did my mom's knee. He's great. I've heard that a few times. People telling me, yeah, my chiropractor sent me to the same surgeon that did his back. So the chiropractor had a back surgery, and then the chiropractor sent his patient to the same surgeon because he plays golf with him on Saturday and drives around in golf carts drinking beer. Probably Bud Light, right? Number 31, just buy this pillow or a new bed. It'll fix your neck and back pain. See, once again, we're focused on the pain, right? Once again, we're focused on the pain. And I tell the story too, going back to 30, I tell the story about my mom. It was bone on bone, bone on bone, bone. I was in school at the time, and I said, that's BS. It's complete BS. Well, what are you talking about? Well, your meniscus has to regrow. Like, you're not walking around with the same meniscus that you had when you were 12 or 20 or 40. Let's adjust this thing. Let's do nutrition. And then a few months, she was better. She canceled her surgery, and boom, she's never had a problem with her knee again. So don't tell me that you can't regrow a meniscus. Don't tell me that bone on bone is just an instant sentence of death for surgery. It doesn't have to be. If you want it to be, go for it. But I don't believe that. Where's your faith? I'll tell you where mine's at. It's up here because I've seen it and I've exercised it. I don't know how many times. And I did it on my own mom, right? So if I did it on my mom, you think I would do it for your mom? I treat my own wife. I treat my mom here. I treat my sister, my brother. Find another doctor's office that does that, right? But that right there, I will never refer you to a surgeon. I already know what's going to happen, right? Number 32, these $400 orthotics will fix your back pain. You don't need to get adjusted. It's just those orthotics, those little pads you put in your shoes, the Dr. Scholl's stuff, right? I know people that's all they do. They just do, you stand on a little plate and it measures your sole and it measures your weight and your distribution, and then they plot out this little thing and it tells you where to put the pads in your shoes, and that fixes everything. Now, is it comfortable? I'm sure it is, but I'm not into it. Just not my gig. How are you going to fix somebody's diabetes by putting orthotics in their shoes? Not my gig. How are you going to fix their cancer? How are you going to you might fix their neck pain or their back pain or something, but what's the real problem? Why is the pain there? And it's not because their shoes are whacked. Their nutrition. Number 33, buy this transcutaneous or transdermal electrical nerve stimulation unit. Your insurance will cover it. What's the problem there? Just like this guy was advertising for the drug companies, what's this guy doing?
Insurance.
See the problem? And then that leads to the next one. What does evidence-based mean? Has anyone heard this term? You heard it in 2020 when everybody was saying, I want a source. I want a peer-reviewed, evidence-based, random clinical trial, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed journal, right? It's evidence-based. It means if it's not published, I only do evidence-based chiropractic, that means somebody is only doing something that's published in a medical journal. So what's the problem with that? Who are they advertising for? A medical journal. Jesus, you see where I'm going with this? Like, it's been corrupted, it's been co-opted by so many other forces. Like, what? And so how many chiropractors are telling people this? I don't know any. But evidence-based chiropractic, if you really think about evidence-based, it was a term created by the insurance companies to make sure that if the evidence-based thing makes it so that you can't do it unless it's scientifically approved in a medical journal. That's all it is. It's an insurance term so that they can deny coverage because it's not in a medical journal. That's why chiropractors, you can't adjust shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, even though it's connected to their neck, if there's pain, right? It doesn't matter if there's pain. You can't adjust it because there's no evidence-based nutritional stuff. There's no evidence-based peer-reviewed stuff to show that, evidence-based wise, you can't prove that the elbow is connected to the wrist. It's not evidence-based. You think I'm kidding, but that's how it works. Number 35, rest, ice, compress, and elevate your injury. This is the biggest load of crap I've ever heard. And I tell a story a while back about somebody's 4-year-old kid who got a shot and then testicle swelled up. And the nurses and the doctors were like, oh, well, just rest and ice and compress and elevate it. Like, how are you going to do that on the testicle of a 4-year-old? I want to make sure you record that for me. I want to see how that goes down. So that's it. Number 35, rest, ice, compress, and elevate your injury. Rest it, ice it, compress it, and elevate it. Push all the blood out of it so that it never gets better. I see what they're doing. Right? Because if you compress it and you put ice on it, you're pushing the blood out of it so it never gets better. You should do that in case, like, you get shot in the arm. Yeah, okay, do that so the blood doesn't squirt out. But you sprain an ankle, something like that, and you want it to fix itself. Stop the bleeding from an acute injury, of course. But if you want that thing to fix itself, life is in the what? Blood. So then we're going to rest it, ice it, compress it, and elevate it to push the blood, the life, out of it. And then what's going to happen to it? Is it going to rot faster or is it going to get fixed faster? It's going to rot faster. See what they're doing? Outside of an acute injury, you don't want to do that. Questions? I'll take a couple questions and then we're out of here because I went way over time. We were supposed to have you guys out, it's like midnight right now, isn't it? I'm so sorry. Question?
Make a comment?
Yes, make a comment. Microphone.
When you were talking about the schools and the teaching, just recently there were 700 professors who are trying to have it eliminated where school children will not be taught anything about the Constitution or the Bill of Rights.
I don't think we were ever taught anything on the Constitution or Bill of Rights.
And
What's different?
And one other comment is that many are now thinking that this AI stuff is actually fallen angel technology that is being...
It is. The AI thing is demonic, 100%. And my quote to the first part, just get your kids out of school. Take their power away. Take the kids out of school. Why are they in government indoctrination centers in the first place? Get them the hell out of school. They're not going to teach you, and they're not going to teach them anything you want them to know. And if it's not evident from the last couple of years, look at what's been happening since the 80s, what we just covered there. Look what's been happening in schools in the last 40 years. Good grief. You want them in a gun-free zone? Or you want to teach them, no, get them out of schools. Let them gather to 700 people. Let them gather together and put their little government indoctrination center together. Who cares? Get your kids out of school. And then the second part was the AI. Yes, it is fallen angel technology. It's disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. It's the demons being channeled into electronic software created by demonically possessed humans. That's exactly what it is. It's the merging of the spirit realm and the electronic software. Look at what D-Wave computers do, and look at what's happening in quantum computing. It's nuts. It's nuts. So anybody out there using AI, you're out of your mind. You're completely out of your mind. I'm already getting emails regularly of, your chiropractic office can benefit from, get rid of your marketing department and do this and do that and just tell AI what you want on your social media posts. I'm already seeing emails all over the place. People are falling for this thing left and right. And then what happens? Then you get dependent on this AI thing, and then you don't have a marketing department, and then all of a sudden the AI says, this is a chiropractic place. We can't do you anymore. You're natural health. See, you fall right into the trap. And then it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to hire the person you just fired because you replaced them with a robot? People don't think about this. They don't think long term. They don't think long time preference. They think short time preference. How much crap can we put out there on social media until you have AI write all this crap for you, come up with all your marketing stuff, and then they ban you from Facebook.
Oh, that was the other
Perfect, right?
Is that AI can now pass the medical boards and they can write your papers for you and
colleges are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Colleges, if they weren't dead before, you got out right in the nick of time, darling. If they weren't dead before, they're definitely dead now. The professors know it. The students know it. probably, I mean, in 2 years, you're going to see colleges just go under left and right. Mark my words, you're going to see it. Because, people don't have to write, they don't have to read anymore. You show up to class and, parties and
Just
I mean,
punch in what
yeah.
report you want. And
go party on Friday, Saturday night. Who cares? You don't have to take a test on Monday. That the AI will solve it for you. And half the tough stuff they do in college now is open book anyway. They don't want to piss anybody off by grading it. No one can hear you. No one can hear you until we need your microphone, please.
I was just going to say, I saw them doing that at choir practice. One of the girls who was in school, she had her iPhone and was just looking up the answers and filling out the paperwork.
It's been happening for decades. What else? Anything else? All right, good. We good? Questions, thoughts? All right. What is it? June 12th. Oh yeah, June 12th, next month. June 12th, say what you mean what you say. Tell everybody you know, get your friends and family here. It'll be a good time. Thank you very much.